Hello everyone, I'm Rob Smith, Smith in the Black with the Strat Time Report, and we are living in exhaustion risk. And what that means is here in the SPY, anytime we go into new highs, we don't have any pivots to take out, right? So it's a matter of whether the buyers step up or not. And so we came firing out gangbusters out of the chute, but if you go to the 60, you're going to see this, what just happened. The 2-1-2 reversal on the 60 minute. Right, and so that's important because when you go into exhaustion risk, I want to be aware of any, especially major signal like a 60 causing the reversal. It was real nice, and some people it was a fast break at the beginning. So what you want to do is once this breaks this, right, then you can go down to the shorter time frames and wait for it to triangulate out. So here you can see initially, right away it was a quick break, right. So a lot of people might have missed that, but then you let it retrace. Take out a slight higher high, and boom, there's your 2-2 reversal off the fiver to capture that 60, and that was a nice move to the downside. So a little bit of a tone change. We know we have an outside month, right? So once a 3 always a 3 can't not be, all right? So now we got a broadening formation, so you want to be aware of that, especially if we come ripping back through this stuff. Obviously, a lot of earnings coming out, and that's going to affect a lot of things. And if we go to the QQQ. Q stopped at the goal line. We were looking for that outside month, and we needed to take out 382.77, and we got to 382.71. So you got Microsoft earnings coming out. Maybe that'll change it. You've heard me say this many times, but every hour is like a new day to us. And so with the Qs, that was a 2-2 reversal. This slightly took out those highs, and that was a 2-2 reversal on the 60. These two became an outside bar of that. But now you got a new 60, so we want to see how that goes. So a lot of things that we're doing, we're going back and forth on these 60s. We have some conflict in some of a lot of the sectors, which means some are going up, some are going down in there, and so we don't have like discernible sector breaks outside of maybe some steel, and we'll get to that in a second. If we're looking at Roku here in Roku, here's what we call country and western going both ways. So right out the chute, you'll notice this 60 here. That was 2 down, blood red. That's a kicking pattern here to the upside on the 60, which triggered the inside day to the upside, but you had some good distance to not be an inside week. That's something you'd always want to know about. So what you got was that initial break, come up, fill the gap, and then the 2-1-2 inside 60 for let's go the other way, puke, right? Because if that works, right, we always want to know if something works, what will that set up? And we got a lot of day left, but potential rev strat day. You got the inside day and then poking up and coming back into the range. So that's something I'd want to know about going forward. SPY's still starting to deteriorate here. If we go to the transports, somewhat your winners here, but here you can see on the 60 that 2 up, 2 down, back to the downside here. Still bright green on the day. Still rev strat month right here. That's still good. And so UPS, your winner over there, UPS. And UPS still trying to hold up here. Still holding, looks like inside 60. Not quite. But you can see still holding up in here is UPS. We did get our outside month. We did get going to the highs, right? So we were looking for that. Once again, on the weekly, here was your reversal. 2 down, 2 up. And if that works, that set up the outside month, right? And you got even more, even with all the highs, right? So always looking for stuff like that. If we go to steel, if there's any group that's holding in there together, it'd be steel to some certain extent. Nucor would still be an inside month here, but you got that inside 60. Nice move up into here. And here in the 15, here's what we call triangle layout. This is how you get in. The 3-1-2 off the 15er, and off she goes. Letter X. And letter X starting to fade a bit, so not as so much as it was yesterday. In the SMH, as we were looking at overnight, and SMH was an inside day, right? And so still looking to see if we can get an outside month out of it. Goes up here now just kind of a doji because we got some going up and some going down over there. We had NVIDIA trying to lead the charge, but goes into exhaustion risk because it's going into the highs. We got what we wanted. The outside 1 bar rev strat month and then some, which was nice. And now if you go down to that 60, just a slight 2-2, not the end of the world, nowhere near taking that day back red, which is good because it tells us we can stay on some of the shorter term stuff. And right now, you'll notice this on the new 60, this is actually a 30, but 2 down, 2 up. Stop them out. Now we can start moving back higher. So we can keep an eye on NVIDIA should this market firm up again. If we go to SPGI, and SPGI, outside month, so you're in exhaustion risk, and you can see like a lot of things that did that a few weeks back, that 2 down, 2 up reversal to give you that outside bar. And then today, 2 down by poking down a little bit, and then 2-2 on a Tuesday. Now just kind of stalling out near the highs. We'll see how that goes going forward. If we go to OMGA, and I know we're going down the food chain here a little bit, but like I said, there's not a lot of sectors that are doing much. And you just see this is just having a nice long green bar, outside month, exhaustion risk. Now it looks like a good chance of a 60. We'll see how that goes coming up. If we go to the CrowdStrike, and here's what we look for here. The outside day, the 2 down, the 3-2-2 on the day, and that goes up into exhaustion risk by giving us that outside month, and you can see what exhaustion risk can do. Goes up, and then boom, 2-2 reversal on the 60 and coming back. We'll see if anything more comes of that if that firms up. You also had this to go back the other way. The inside 30 after the 2 up, 2 down 30, right? And so it's important to understand that when you're in exhaustion risk, a lot of people will be looking at all the time frames. It's like, well, Rob, they're green. I'm like, that's true, but you're into exhaustion risk, and so that's when you can start looking for those 60s and 30s for the fade, especially if you made money on the upside. Call that country and western. If you go to PERI, Perry, and PERI, once again, exhaustion risk, but holding sturdy up here so far. We'll see how that goes going forward. Maybe an inside 60, we'll see. If you go to NOTV, and NOTV having a nice day here, and you can see this on the weekly. The 2 up, the 2 down, boom, the 2-2-2-2, and off she goes. Still an inside month after a big spiking up here, but you can see the nice 2 days, and this, what you look for on a Tuesday is either reversals or continuations. So they came in gangbusters to buy yesterday, and those guys came back. That's something you'd want to know about, right? Buyers came back on a Tuesday, so they're still hungry for this thing. We'll see how that goes going forward. If we go to little guy Prague, and little guy Prague, just a little shenaniganer, but inside month to the upside. Remember, we knew about that down here with the inside week. Still working that month, and got a little bit month left. All right, SPY's still trying to deteriorate here a bit. And if we take a look at the downside, Facebook having all sorts of problems here. And so one of the things I talk about is like when you're looking at broadening formations, and sometimes you might see this and be like, well, I don't really see the bottom of it. I'm like, you're about to, right? And there it goes. And so here on the weekly, you're going to see this, the 2 down, the 2 up. Shooter counters, hammer, boom. These two become an outside bar of that. Still below last month's lows. All sorts of trouble in here. So Facebook's still having its issues. If we go to PayPal, and PayPal here, still an inside week, but you can see red on all time frames. And yesterday was a 2 up, but red. Boom, there's your 2-2 reversal back down going towards the basement. PayPal still having all sorts of problems here. If we go to LMT, Lockheed Martin, yield pivot machine gun coming back to a previous range. What that tells me, we're going to stop a lot of people out, right? So once it opened here, we're looking to take all this stuff out, which it did right here. Big outside month to the downs, or outside week to the downside. Coming back through a previous range, still deteriorating. That tells us to keep an eye on Northrop Grumman. And Northrop Grumman just kind of sitting there for now, but we'll see. You got this stuff to come back through if they want to get on that too, and maybe General Dynamics, all that's recovering. If we go to DWAC, and DWAC 212 inside day to the downside, up and down. SPY still working. See, it's like you can't call tops. I'm like, I didn't call a top. It was a 212 reversal on the 60 coming in back to the gap in exhaustion risk. It's always important to be able to define what you're saying, why some things would work. eBay, exhaustion risk by going into the highs, outside month. on the daily, 212 inside day back down, and you can see this inside on the 60 and still deteriorating there. SPY going to the lows, Q's trying to go to the lows. If we go to China, Baba coming down. Baba's still an inside week, but you have that outside month, and once you're outside, that's a broadening formation. They might come back through it. And if you go to the 30, you'll see this. Inside 30 to the downside. Baba, Baidu, also having issues here. Still an inside week, but if you can take that out, that'll get my attention. Here you can see that inside 30. Boom, down she goes. If we go to PDD, let's stick with China for a second. All right, we're losing them, folks. And here, PDD, not quite an inside day, but also going after those weeks. So these things can get worse if we can take out these weeks. Having a rough morning, as you can see on that 60. If we go to, let's take a look at Tesla's. Tesla's a more exhaustion risk, right? It goes blasting into the highs, all right? And then what happened? You go to the 30 and you're going to see this. Shooter. 2-2 reversal on the 30, then inside on the 30 down. So oftentimes you'll hear me talk about what we like to do is we want to trade reversals. That's this, 2 up, 2 down. And then you can add on the continuation, 2, 1, 2 continuation. And there you get your Teslas on the short side. If you go to Intel, so here's what I was talking about where you have NVIDIA up in the SMHs, but you got Intel inside day and down per last night's video, puking. Having a real tough time. That's a 3-2 weaker to the downside. Having all sorts of trouble. Here is Intel. How's that 60 looking? Trying to go down off the 60. We'll see. Also had AMAT. And AMAT inside day and down with the SMH inside day up. So there's your conflict that you're seeing. And then you can go down to a 30. And there's your inside 30 right here. And going back to China for a second, this is in my video last night, NTES. NTES still an inside week, all right? But here you go, the 2-1-2, right? The reversal on a Tuesday, and down she goes. If we go to Commvault in the gappers, and Commvault, remember this broadening formation, now it's expanding. And that's how we know that because it's a 3-2 on the month. Outside, boom, down. This thing getting pounded. Let's see if we can get a 60 out of her. And there you go. Inside 60, Momo shooting down. She goes 2-1-2 style. We go to Shop. And Shop on the week. Shooters. That's inside here. Not quite. 2-2 reversal on the week. That's something I'd want to know about, especially on a Tuesday. And here's your reversal, and it's getting pounded. Boom, inside on the 60, and down she goes. If you go to UPST. Okay, they're still hitting these things, folks. UPST. 2-2 on a Tuesday, right? So on Monday, what did they do? They bought this thing. 2-2 reversal to the upside, right? But what happens on Tuesday? Boom, they reverse that. So anybody who bought yesterday, pounded, screwed. Down she goes. That gives you an inside week to the downside, setting up potentially monthly shooter. Here was your inside 60 to get in on that. Down she goes. If you go to GitLab, 2-2 on a Tuesday. Is that something I want to know about? You bet it is. Here it is, 2 up. Boom, reversal downside on a Tuesday. If you go to LOVE, 2 up on a Monday, boom, 2-2, the reversal on the Tuesday. Still inside week, but you can see they hit that thing fairly nicely. That's good. If you go to AFRM, 2-2 on a Tuesday, right? That puts it red on the week now. Then you had your inside 60 to reconfirm that. 2 up, 2 down, coming back through previous range. So if we go back to the broader averages, just for a second, you're going to see the SPY still trying to deteriorate, right? Every 60 is a new day. It's still coming in. QQQ, still coming in on that 60. So pay attention to that 60 and keep an eye on those 2-2s on a Tuesday. All right, that's going to do it for today. I'm Rob Smith. Smith of the Black, Strat Time Report.